Have you ever met someone who was actually good for you? They were kind. They were consistent. They replied normally. They didn't play games. They didn't make you guess where you stood. And somehow, instead of feeling safe, you felt bored. Not because they did anything wrong, but because something inside you kept wondering, why don't I feel that spark? And then maybe you started missing the person who made you anxious, the one who disappeared and came back, the one who gave you attention, then pulled away, the one who made you feel chosen one day and confused the next. And this is the uncomfortable part. Sometimes peace feels boring, not because peace is wrong, but because your body has become used to chaos. So if you've ever felt more attracted to confusion than consistency, or more awake in emotional drama than in calm connection, stay until the end. Because this episode is not just about why that happens. It's also about how to slowly stop mistaking anxiety for chemistry and how to let peace feel safe again. Because you are not broken. You may just be used to surviving. A lot of people think attraction is always a clear signal. They think if someone makes your heart race, that means you like them more. If someone makes you nervous, that means there is chemistry. If someone feels hard to get, that means they are more valuable. But sometimes your body is not saying, this person is right for me. Sometimes your body is saying, this situation feels familiar. And familiar does not always mean healthy. If you grew up around emotional unpredictability, or if you've been in relationships where love was inconsistent, your brain may have learned to associate tension with connection. You might not even consciously realize it, but when someone is calm, available, and steady, your nervous system might not recognize it as love. It might register it as empty, too quiet, too easy, too normal, too safe. And then when someone is inconsistent, suddenly everything feels intense. You think about them more. You check your phone more. You replay conversations more. You wonder what they meant. You wonder if they still care. You wonder how to get back to the good version of them. And because they take up so much space in your mind, you assume they must matter more. But obsession is not always love. Sometimes it is uncertainty. There is a psychological idea called intermittent reinforcement. It means that when rewards come unpredictably, we often become more attached to them. If someone is always kind, your brain gets used to it. But if someone is warm one day and cold the next, every small moment of affection starts to feel powerful. A text back feels like relief. A compliment feels like proof. A little attention feels like winning, and that relief can feel like love. But really, it may just be your nervous system coming down from stress. That is why chaotic relationships can feel addictive. Not because they are deeper, but because the emotional highs feel stronger after the lows. When someone hurts you, then comforts you, the comfort feels more intense. When someone disappears, then comes back, their return feels more meaningful. When someone makes you doubt yourself, then gives you affection, the affection feels like oxygen. And if this is making something click for you, take a second to like this video and subscribe, because this channel is about understanding the patterns we usually blame ourselves for. Because most people don't need more judgment, they need language for what has been happening inside them. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Peace does not always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes peace feels suspicious. When someone is consistent, you may start questioning them. Are they secretly boring? Are they pretending? Why are they so available? Why don't I feel nervous? Does this mean I'm not attracted to them? But maybe the question is not, why don't they excite me? Maybe the question is, why do I only feel excited when I'm unsure? Because chaos creates urgency, peace creates space. And if you are not used to space, it can feel uncomfortable. In chaos, your mind always has a job. Figure out what they mean, predict their mood, fix the problem, earn their attention, prevent them from leaving. There is always something to solve. But in peace, there is nothing to chase. And for someone who has lived in survival mode, that can feel strange. It can feel like nothing is happening. But sometimes nothing happening is exactly the point. No sudden withdrawal, no emotional guessing game, no punishment for speaking honestly, no panic after sending a message, no fear that one small mistake will ruin everything. That is not boredom, that is emotional safety. But if your system is used to emotional danger, safety may feel unfamiliar before it feels good. Think about it like moving from a loud room into a quiet one. At first, the quiet can feel awkward. You notice every little sound. You don't know what to do with yourself. You almost miss the noise, even if the noise was exhausting. But after a while, your body starts to settle. You breathe differently. You think more clearly. You stop bracing for the next thing. That is what healthy peace can feel like. Not instant fireworks. More like your body slowly realizing, oh, I don't have to fight for this. And this is important. Peace does not mean there is no passion. A healthy connection can still be exciting. It can still be playful. It can still be romantic. It can still have desire, humor, curiosity, and depth. But it does not need fear to feel alive. That is the difference. Chaos says, you might lose me, so chase me. Peace says, you can relax here and we can still choose each other. One makes you perform. The other lets you become more yourself. But if you are used to performing for love, being accepted without a fight can feel confusing. You may even sabotage it. You may pick fights. You may overthink small things. You may feel the urge to pull away. You may tell yourself something is missing. And sometimes something is missing. Not every calm person is the right person. But before you decide peace is boring, ask yourself, is this actually boring, or is it just not activating my anxiety? That one question can change a lot. Because anxiety can feel like chemistry. Uncertainty can feel like excitement. Emotional distance can feel like mystery. And chasing someone can feel like love, especially if you are trying to prove that you are worth choosing. But real love should not constantly make you feel like you are auditioning. You should not have to decode basic care. You should not have to earn simple respect. You should not have to become smaller, cooler, quieter, prettier, richer, more convenient, or less emotional just to keep someone interested. That is not chemistry. That is pressure. And your body may be used to pressure, but being used to something does not mean you have to keep living inside it. So what do you actually do? Not in a fake, perfect, inspirational way, in a real-life way. First, slow down the meaning you attach to intensity. When you feel that rush, don't immediately call it love. Just say, this is intensity. That's it. You don't have to judge it. You don't have to shame yourself. You don't have to make a huge decision. Just name it correctly. This person makes me feel activated. Then ask, do they also make me feel respected? Because intensity without respect can become a trap. Second, give calm people enough time to become familiar. Not forever. Not if you genuinely don't like them. But don't reject someone only because they don't trigger the same emotional panic you are used to. Sometimes attraction grows when your body stops being on alert. Sometimes a person becomes more attractive when you realize they are safe to be honest with. Sometimes peace becomes beautiful after your nervous system stops looking for the next emergency. Third, watch how you feel after the interaction, not just during it. Chaos can feel exciting in the moment, but afterwards you feel drained. You feel confused. You feel desperate. You feel like you need to check where you stand. Peace might feel less dramatic in the moment, but afterwards you feel clearer. You feel more like yourself. You don't feel punished for having needs. You don't feel like you are losing your mind. That matters. Your body's aftertaste tells the truth. And finally, do not shame yourself for craving what hurt you. That is one of the most important parts. A lot of people feel embarrassed when they realize they are drawn to chaos. They think, why am I like this? Why can't I just like healthy people? Why do I miss someone who made me anxious? But healing does not begin with self-hate. It begins with honesty. You are not stupid for wanting intensity. You are not weak for missing someone unpredictable. You are not broken because calm love feels unfamiliar. Your brain learned patterns that once helped you survive emotionally. Maybe you learned to work hard for attention. Maybe you learned to read moods quickly. Maybe you learned that love comes with tension. Maybe you learned that being chosen only counts if it was difficult. But now you get to learn something else. You get to learn that love can be warm without being confusing. You get to learn that attraction does not have to feel like panic. You get to learn that peace is not the absence of love. Sometimes peace is what love feels like when it stops hurting. And at first, that may feel quiet, but quiet does not mean empty. Quiet can be where your real self finally comes back. The version of you that is not constantly analyzing, not constantly proving, not constantly waiting for the next message, not constantly wondering what you did wrong. That version of you is still there. And the more you choose people, places, and habits that let you breathe, the more your body starts to understand. This is not boring. This is safe. And safe can become exciting too. Not in the chaotic way, not in the way that makes you lose sleep, but in the way that lets you build something real. So if peace feels boring after chaos, don't panic. It does not mean you are doomed to repeat the same pattern. It may simply mean your system is adjusting to a new kind of love, a new kind of life, and a new kind of calm. Give yourself time. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are learning how to stop confusing survival with connection. And that is a beautiful thing to learn.